Berlin has long acknowledged its guilt for its Nazi past. This memorial to the murdered Jews of Europe dominates the city centre. The field of coffin-like statues is one of the top spots for sightseers and selfies. Every day, thousands wander through this monument, some trying to work out what it's meant to mean, others pondering the bewildering enormity of what happened. The Nazi Holocaust, which was planned and directed from this city, not only killed 6 million Jews, it also spurred the creation of the State of Israel as a refuge from such evil. So why are so many Jews now leaving Israel for Berlin? Shirah Roth is one of an estimated 13,000 Israelis who've moved here. She and her friend Ori Halevi work the city's burgeoning comedy scene.
We're here in Joke Time, which is an open stage, and it accidentally happens to be...
Holocaust Memorial Day.
Yeah, the Israeli one.
The Israeli one.
You're going to do a Holocaust joke?
I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens.
What else do you do on Holocaust? That's the first thing that comes to mind.
We're used to having this day.
If you go to Israel and tell a Holocaust joke, everybody's going to be like, we've heard it.
Yeah.
And there's a deeper side to coming here.
I actually dedicate tonight to my grandma. Yeah, she died when I moved here to Berlin, and she was born here, and for me, this is like, I think this is the best way I can celebrate her life, by actually having fun and maybe providing other people, even Germans, a good night and some laughter. So I dedicate it to my grandma tonight.
I'm from Israel. Mixed opinions there.
Berlin is so international, even the comedy's in English.
I don't feel I should be paying for stuff here. You know what I mean? I mean, haven't you taken enough? Come on, you know? Like a waiter comes up to me, that'll be 10 euros, sir. And I'm like, really? Really? Are you not aware of the history? This is the Vietnamese restaurant. Yes, but still, I'm glad you guys laughed at that, because Germans don't laugh at that. They take Hitler way too seriously. Which I think was the problem in the first place, when you think about it.
Give it up for Shirah!
Yeah.
For Shirah, it's been liberating.
Yeah, another Israeli, woohoo!
She spent her entire life in the shadow of Israel's never-ending conflict with Palestinians.
Yes, I was in the army. Yes, I shot different kinds of guns. No, I did not aim it at anyone. Yes, I do regret that.
Shirah says she was worn down by the economic cost. In Tel Aviv, working 50 hours a week barely covered her rent.
You were tremendous. Thank you very, very much.
I left Israel with debt. I owe money.
Yeah.
And I can actually, I had to move out of Israel to pay it back.
Wow.
That's a harsh thing.
Yeah. But do you have much money here?
No.
Huh?
But enough.
Yeah.
Enough to have a satisfying life.
So it's a good place to be poor?
It is the best place to be poor and creative.
Her favourite place in Berlin is Tempelhof, the airport Hitler built up as the pride of Nazi aviation. So it doesn't make you feel creepy being around Nazi architecture and the echoes of the Holocaust?
It does. But creep is part of life. Creep is part of life. And if you're willing to look into the creep's eyes, you're also willing to look into the beauty's eyes. You can actually appreciate it. to see life actually growing out of this death. That's fantastic.
The abandoned airfield has been turned into a public park.
I don't think Hitler would want to see Tempelhof the way it is now. Like plenty of Muslims, plenty of Israeli Jews. Wow, he wouldn't be happy about Israel anyways.
For many young Israelis, Berlin has become a place to rise again.
It's not just the stress of politics and where is this country going to and what's happening and this fear and hatred in the streets and this fucked up conflict that just gets worse and worse and worse. When I was there, I was just feeling suffocated, just drowning kind of feeling.
Berlin has always been a magnet for artists, adventurers and misfits. In the Cold War, it was divided between the capitalist West and communist East. West German musicians, punks and radicals moved to West Berlin to escape the draft. In 1990, after the wall came down, they flocked to cheap apartments in the East. But it's only recently that young Israelis have joined en masse.
Most Germans don't know it, never met a Jew, actually. Now with all the Israelis here, it becomes more and more rare, but I remember when I just got here, like, bist du Jude? You're a Jew? It's like, oh my God, we've never seen a living one, you know?
Ofer Waldman moved here in 1999 to play French horn in a Berlin orchestra. As one of the few Israelis here, he found himself fated.
German authorities, based on the Jewish-German past, are, I would say, more open for Jewish-Israeli immigration. So, you know, getting a visa, getting a permit to work, I think is maybe slightly easier for Jewish Israelis.
Thousands more came after 2011, when cost of living protests broke out across Israel. The numbers were small compared to other nationalities, but for Germany, this was big.
Israelis tend to make a lot of noise, I would put it that way. And the Germans are very receptive to this noise. They say it's great, you know, it's a sign that we have Jewish-Israeli life here in Germany. Israeli restaurants, you have kosher shops, I think you didn't have in Berlin before. You have vivid Jewish life. So I think it's something that the Germans felt they need in order to maybe to reach a kind of a closure regarding the past.
Not everyone is glad to see them. In April, Berliners were shocked by this video of a Syrian refugee attacking a man in a skull cap. The victim wasn't even Jewish. He was an Israeli Arab wearing a kippah as an experiment.
Juden oder nicht Jude? Du musst damit klarkommen. Du musst damit klarkommen.
Protests against Israel's treatment of Palestinians have sometimes turned into attacks on Jews. Back in Israel, many are wondering what the hell is going on. None more so than those who fled Germany for the safety of the Jewish homeland.
When I was young, I had wanted nothing to do with Germany. I never bought German products. I didn't buy anything that was manufactured in Germany. I wanted not to hear German. Somehow my father kept a lot of these pictures during the war with him in the concentration camps.
Chaim Fischgrund was born in southern Germany just after the war. His parents had met in a concentration camp.
And this is my father's brother. They were 9 before the war, and only 2 survived. My father.
He was 3 years old when they moved to Israel.
This is where we lived in Israel, a suburb of Tel Aviv.
Chaim ended up spending much of his life in the US. The young state of Israel was too poor to give his sister the medical help she needed. But having returned to Israel as an adult, he's dismayed to see another generation leaving.
So I think while I understand the phenomenon and the need for it upsets me, still going to Germany, I think, for me is much more emotionally, I don't want to say as far as abhorrent, that may be a strong word, but
it's upsetting.
It's upsetting more than if someone that I know would move to England, Australia, the United States, Canada. Why Berlin, of all places? It's hard to say. But it was the capital of the Reich.
3, 2, 1, אפרי. טוב. ירדנו למטה, הפכנו. סבבה.
But for Israel's so-called third generation, feelings have changed.
5. דיברתי עם חבר'ה בגילי, גרמנים, מברלין, והיה מדהים. למדתי מהם המון. 3, לאט.
Avi Binyamin grew up in an ultra-Orthodox family before deciding to embrace the secular world and become a gym instructor. He's counting the days before he moves to Berlin.
שזה מה שאנחנו נעשה חזור, הלוך קפיצות, חזור יד יד. יותר מעניין אותי האופן מיינד שיש לאנשים שם. חופש המחשבה, חופש העיסוק. תעלה, תנחת על רגל אחת ואז תרד לחצי סקווט. הייתי אמור להיות עכשיו רב, נשוי, עם 5 עד 10 ילדים. זה הדרך שהטבו לי.
He says his ultra-Orthodox school taught him Germans were evil.
רד עד מצב שאתה מרגיש שאתה בטוח עולה. היה ברור שדימו את הגרמנים ואת אלו שהיו אז את הנאצים למפלצות אדם, ואותנו למסכנים שסבלו מזה. אחד מהדברים שאני מזכיר לעצמי כל הזמן, אין מפלצות אדם. יש בני אדם שעושים דברים רעים. כל אחד, כולל אני, בהינתן המקום הנכון, הלחץ החברתי הנכון והפסיכולוגי שאני אהיה נתון בו, אני גם יכול להיות אכזר.
Avi's hometown Haifa seems idyllic. The Jewish residents of this mixed city barely notice the constant clashes in the occupied Palestinian territories. But young secular Jews have to serve at least 2 years in the military. Avi was injured in the army and wants nothing more to do with the conflict.
כן, אז השאלה כמה זמן אתה הולך להיות שם?
כרטיס פתוח.
באמת?
כן.
נו, וכאילו אין תוכנית לחזור? באמת?
Avi's leaving behind 4 sisters and 6 brothers. Today, it's a farewell lunch with his younger brother, Daniel.
Yeah, what is this? It's calamari, shrimps,
They've chosen a restaurant in German colony, named after German missionaries who settled here in the 19th century.
אנחנו מדברים כרגע תוך כדי אוכל, אז אני מאוד אתגעגע לאוכל. היתרון שיש בישראל זה אוסף של המון תרבויות שיוצרים קולינריה או דברים מדהימים יחד. למשל, אצלנו בבית זה מטבח צ'יליאני, עיראקי והודי. וכל אחד מגיע ממקומות אחרים. בגרמניה האוכל מרגיש לי קצת יותר טפל, קצת חסר טעם.
And Daniel, what do you think about your brother moving to Berlin?
קודם כל אני גאה בו, המון. גאה בזה שהוא יוצא את הצעד הזה די אמיץ.
And you're thinking of leaving too, aren't you?
מה שאני אעשה בעתיד, אני מקווה מאוד שאני אצליח.
דניאל, תפרק עוד מזה.
As pleasant as life can be on the Mediterranean, they say for them, Israel has become stifling.
בכלל, אנחנו עוברים לחברה פחות מוסרית, יותר ישיבתית, וגם אם אנחנו נאלצים פה בארץ לחיות על חרבנו, או לעשות את הדברים בצורה כלשהי ולהגן על עצמנו, הייתי רוצה שנחשוב כולנו ונחנך את הילדים שלנו, שזו לא ברירת המחדל.
Four days later, Avi's girlfriend Gilly is coming to meet him as he flies into Berlin. She moved here ahead of him to work in IT.
I like that people here don't seem to judge you too much for how you look and what you choose to do. So it's a very open city.
Yeah, it feels free here.
Yeah.
Avi knows he's taking a risk. He doesn't speak German and has no job waiting.
ייקח לי זמן קצת למצוא את המקום שלי פה כמובן, אבל בינתיים באתי בגישה חיובית ואני די ממשיך איתה.
The steady stream of Israelis has turned Berlin into one of the world's fastest-growing Jewish communities. But the Jewish influx has been dwarfed by Arabs. In 2015, Germany accepted nearly 1 million refugees from Syria and neighbouring countries. Here, they meet on neutral ground.
I live in a neighborhood which has the largest Palestinian community, I think, in Europe. I'm thrilled and happy that my children who go here to schools and kindergarten learn some Arabic. I think that we have a wonderful chance here in Berlin to practice coexistence between Israelis and Arabs.
Now a journalist with German public radio, Ofer spends a lot of time reporting on the refugee community. Unlike his German colleagues, he speaks fluent Arabic. He believes the danger from refugees has been exaggerated.
First of all, these people have had a horrible experience coming here. I do not think that the first thing that they're interested in is to chase down Jews and Israelis on the streets of Berlin or of Germany. They have other concerns. And statistics shows that the overwhelming number of anti-Semitic attacks on Jews or Israelis in Berlin or in Germany are conducted by German anti-Semites.
Berlin is surrounded by what used to be East Germany, where the collapse of socialism proved fertile ground for extremists.
I don't like gypsies, I don't like faggots, I don't like Jews, but anybody else is cool. I like black people, I like everybody else that's cool here.
Why don't you like Jews?
Oh, they control the world, the economy, and anywhere that they tell Donald Trump what to do.
On our first day in Berlin, we came across this man who said he was a 34-year-old Polish German named Sebastian.
Keep his promises.
A lot of Jewish people would say you are a racist idiot.
So what? I don't care.
Do you think it's in good taste to be saying things like that here?
I don't care. So what?
I mean, you know about the Holocaust. You're not denying that. You know that 6 million Jews were killed.
I know.
What do you think about that?
Well,
you don't talk about my
I know. So well, I can't say much. Just lost in this country. Just lost in this country. So.
While you can meet the odd nutter in Berlin, it's been, for the most part, an island of tolerance. Israeli musicians Ohad Lev Roger and Ari Cohen say they've never been harassed by Germans. What's more, they've started hanging out with Arabs.
You know, the thing in Israel, you cannot go to visit the neighbors. It's not allowed. Maybe it's dangerous. I don't really know that, but here I can meet the people. I can meet people from Syria, from Lebanon, from Jordan, and I can be friends with them, and I can see their own perspective about how they grew up and what their culture is like. And it's really, really open-minding. It's really open-minding. It's something really different.
So it's easier for Israelis, Jews, and Palestinians to get together in Germany.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't really had some bad experiences.
Some expats have become vocal critics of how Israel treats Arabs. While we were shooting in Berlin, the Israeli army was gunning down protesters in Gaza, claiming some were terrorists.
I mean, of course, it's shattering. You know, it's horrible. I would say that, again, coming back to the fact of being a Jewish Israeli here, we have a louder voice because of the past. And it's a privilege. And then there is the question, what do you do with this privilege?
Ofer Waldman runs the German branch of an Israeli human rights group called New Israel Fund.
And I tell them, look, this is what is going on. And not only this is what is going on on the border to the Gaza Strip, there are a lot of Israelis who are against it, who oppose it, who need support in order to gather the strength of the Israeli civil society in order to finally bring my country to the right track.
Seit Jahren wird Israel in der UNO kritisiert, diskriminiert, so stark wie kein anderes Land der Welt.
Berlin's traditional Jewish community has been far more supportive of Israel's policies. At this ceremony marking Holocaust Day, Community President Gideon Yoffe condemned Israel's critics and blamed Berlin's Muslims for attacks on Jews.
Leider ist es so, dass so gut wie alle Vorfälle, von denen wir mitbekommen, von denen wir informiert werden, häufig mit Muslimen in Berlin zusammenhängen, mit muslimischen Schülern oder Muslimen hier in Berlin.
People who say, yeah, the Arabs who come here are anti-Semitic, they attack our Jews, usually do that in order to say, as a consequence, so we should not let them in our country. I'm not willing to be an instrument as a Jew, as an Israeli. I object being used as an instrument in order to close the German border to immigrants, to asylum seekers. I think it's horrible.
One of the strongest defenders of the Jewish community here is a politician of Palestinian descent. Sausan Chebli's parents were asylum seekers. She's backed tough penalties for online hate speech, and she wants more education on the Holocaust, especially for newcomers.
We have to teach young people about what this country's done in the past, killing 6 million Jews.
She's even proposed sending refugees to visit concentration camps.
This does not only refer to Germans, but also to those people who came here as refugees or whatsoever. This is part of our history, and remembering the Holocaust, I feel, is not only like fighting against anti-Semitism, it's also an existential thing. It's an existential question. It's about our democracy.
Coming here has prompted Shirah to do something she never contemplated, visiting Sachsenhausen. Just 30 minutes from the edge of Berlin, it was one of the first Nazi camps for Jews and political opponents.
As a young teenager, I wouldn't go with my high school to Poland to see the death camps because I didn't feel I was prepared to see it.
This wasn't the worst of the camps. It had just one gas chamber and crematorium. Inmates were transported to Auschwitz for mass extermination.
I'm happy that those ovens are not on again. But it kind of mixes with this horrific feeling in the stomach of they worked in the first place. שלא ייגמר לעולם החול והים רשרוש של המים תפילת האדם. People who criticize me about moving to Berlin because of the Holocaust have no idea that in Berlin you feel, you think, you see the Holocaust way more than you see it in Israel. It pops up from anywhere. And as disturbed as I am looking at it, I prefer looking at it and acknowledging it and seeing it for what it is and being able to learn from it and carrying on with living.
For some Israelis, moving to Hitler's capital will always be an affront to history. For Shirah Roth, it's the best revenge a Jew can have.
It's a bit like dancing on his grave. Yeah, and I like dancing, so why not?